Good morning, students. I am Dr. Ansina. Today we will see joints. So, what are joints? It is a place where two things are joined. Okay. In other words, it is the meeting point of two bonds. Okay. In anatomy, it is the junction between two or more bonds. Okay. What is arthrology? It is the study of joints. What is arthritis? It is the inflammation of joint. Okay. Joint is classified functionally and structurally. Okay. And functional classification is based on the degree of movement. Okay. In that you have got synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis and diarthrosis. Synarthrosis, these are synarthrosis, these are immovable joints. For example, you have got the cranial sutures, primary cartilaginous joint. And in the case of amphiarthrosis, these are slightly movable joint. In that you have got examples like secondary cartilaginous joint and syndesmosis. And what is this diarthrosis? It is freely movable joint. Okay. And under that you have got synovial joints. So cranial sutures comes under immovable joint. Okay, there is no mobility. Okay, so primary cartilaginous joint, it is also an immovable joint. In that you have first costosternal joint. Okay, first, okay, this one costosternal joint and costochondral joints. Okay, under amphiarthrosis, which are slightly movable joints, okay, you have got secondary cartilaginous joint and syndesmosis as the examples. Okay, so what is syndesmosis? These are joints where two bones are linked together by interosseous ligaments and membranes. Okay, so here you have examples like radial joint, tibiofibular joint. Now secondary cartilaginous joint, it also comes under slightly movable joint. In that you have pubic symphysis, intervertebral disc and symphysis mendae as the examples. Okay, so this is the symphysis mendae. And regarding freely movable joints, in that you have synovial joints such as elbow joint and shoulder joint. Okay, this is otherwise known as diarthrosis. Now regarding the classification based on structure. Okay, structural classification is based on type of connective tissue and the presence or absence of joint cavity. Okay, so here we can divide joints into fibrous joint, cartilaginous joint and synovial joint. Now regarding the fibrous joint. Now regarding the fibrous joint, here bones are connected by fibrous tissue. These joints are either immovable or permit slight degree of movement. There is no joint cavity. Okay, so in this you have got types such as sutures, syndesmosis and gomphosis. And regarding the sutures are seen between bones which are ossifying in membranous ossification. Okay, for example skull bones, right? Here articular surfaces are connected by a thin layer of connective tissue, that is the sutural ligament. Okay, sutural ligament connect two surfaces, okay, of bones, right? And these are immovable joints which are confined to skull. Here you can see the suture. Based on the shape of meeting point of bones, 5 types of sutures are there. They are plain, serrate, denticulate, squamous and scintillaceous. So regarding the plain suture, here meeting point is flat. Okay, and that is articular surfaces are plain and smooth. Okay, here you have got the example like medial palatine suture. Okay, here we have smooth plain articular surfaces. Median palatine suture. And regarding the serrate or the limbus suture, here articular surfaces of suture are reciprocally serrated, okay, and interlock with each other in a jigsaw fashion. That is, ends of two bones are serrated, okay. And here you have got example as sagittal suture, okay. Here you can see the sagittal suture here. Fine. What is this denticulate suture? Okay, margins of the suture interlock with each other like teeth of a saw. Okay, that is, the edges of bones have tooth-like projection which fits into the other bone. Okay, here you have got example as Lamdout suture. These are the Lamdout sutures. Now, what is this comma suture? Articulating surfaces of sutures are relatively flat and overlap each other. Okay, and okay, the suture between temporal and parietal bone is the example. Okay, under squamous suture. Okay, you can see here the suture between temporal bone and parietal bone is an example of squamous suture. What is this scintillasis? It is a specialized suture where ridge of one bone fits into the groove of other bone. That is, example, joint between the rostrum of sphenoid bone and cleft between ala of palmar bone. Okay. Okay. Here, that is, one bone splits into two. Another bone fits into that split portion of the other bone. Okay, one bone splits into two, another bone fits into that split portion of the other bone. Okay, so types of sutures: median palatine suture is an example of plain suture. Sagittal suture is an example of serrate suture. Between temporal and parietal bone you have the squamous suture. Lamdout suture is an example of denticulate suture. Scintillasis is between the rostrum of sphenoid and ala of palmar bone. And what is the syndesmosis? It also comes under fibrous joint, right? Yeah. So here the joints where two adjacent bones are here, the joints are okay. Okay, these are joints where two adjacent bones are linked together by interosseous membrane and ligaments. Okay, for example, you have got radioulnar joint, okay, interosseous radioulnar joint, tibiofibular joint, adjacent joint between adjacent lamina of vertebra, tympanostapedial joint. Okay, these are slightly movable joint. So under syndesmosis you have got examples like radioulnar joint, okay, and tibiofibular joint. Okay. Now what is this gymphosis? It is a specialized fibrous joint. Here the joints are restricted to fixation of teeth in alveolar sockets of mandible and maxilla. It is otherwise known as peg and socket joint. Okay. Okay. Root of tooth is attached to the socket within the alveolus by what? Periodontal ligament. Okay. Now what is this periodontitis? Okay. Teeth becomes loose and fall off easily after inflammation and degeneration of periodontal ligament. Okay. See here. Here the tooth is separated from the socket by the periodontal ligament. So under fibrous joint you have got sutures, syndesmosis and gymphosis. Oh, sorry. And okay, you know the examples, okay, which comes under three types of fibrous joint. Now we will see cartilaginous joint. And okay, regarding the cartilaginous joint, These are connected by hyaline or fibrocartilage. There is no joint cavity in a cartilaginous joint. Okay, there are two types of cartilaginous joint. One is the primary and the other one is the secondary cartilaginous joint. Primary cartilaginous joint is otherwise known as synchondrosis. Secondary cartilaginous joint otherwise known as symphysis. Now the primary cartilaginous joint, here two bonds are united by hyaline cartilage. Okay, you have got examples like joint between epiphysis and diaphysis of growing long bone. It is a primary cartilaginous joint. Joint between basi-occiput and basi-sphenoid, and the first costosternal joint, that is between the first costal cartilage and the sternum, right? Okay, and these are immovable joints, as you already know. Okay, primary cartilaginous joint, these are immovable, and these are temporary joints. Why? As the person gets aged, hyaline cartilage will be replaced by bone, that is synostosis occurs there. So under primary cartilaginous joint, you have got the first costosternal joint and okay, and the joint between epiphysis and diaphysis of a growing long bone. Okay, primary cartilaginous joint also is between basi-occiput and basi-sphenoid. Now regarding the secondary cartilaginous joint. Okay, and here the bones are covered by hyaline cartilage, and it is further connected by fibrocartilage. That is, articular surfaces of bones forming the joints are covered by thin plates of hyaline cartilage, which are connected by a pad of fibrocartilage. Okay, here only limited movement happens, right? And examples, you have got pubic symphysis, intervertebral disc, manubriosternal joint, and symphysis menti. Okay, and these are permanent joints. Okay, almost all midline joints are symphysial joints. Okay, midline joints are symphysial joints. So pubic symphysis, intervertebral disc, manubriosternal joint, and symphysis menti. Okay, these are coming under symphysial joints. So now what is the difference between primary and secondary cartilaginous joint? Okay, you know, in the case of primary cartilaginous joint, hyaline cartilage is there, and in the case of secondary cartilaginous joint, okay, the bony ends are covered by hyaline cartilage, which in turn is connected by fibrocartilage. And primary is immobile joint, secondary is slightly mobile joint. Primary cartilaginous joint disappears with age, and secondary cartilaginous joint do not disappear with age. Okay, and primary cartilaginous joint site, it rarely occurs in the midline. Secondary cartilaginous joint always occur in the midline, always present in the midline. Okay, and you know the examples under primary and secondary cartilaginous joint. Okay, now regarding the synovial joint. Okay, these are joints, okay, having a joint cavity which will be containing synovial fluid. And now capsule. Okay, synovial joint, parts of synovial joint. Sorry. Okay, so this is the capsule. Fine, it is the outer covering of joint which is lined internally by synovial membrane. Okay, this is the synovial membrane, and there is an articular cartilage, okay, which covers the bony ends. Okay, this is hyaline cartilage only. Okay, and outside to capsule you have the ligaments connecting the bones, two bonds. Fine, and now regarding the synovial joints, these are otherwise termed as diarthrodial joint. It is the most common type of joint. Here the articulating ends are covered with articular cartilage. Okay, and here there is the presence of cavity, synovial cavity, which is filled with synovial fluid. Okay, and articular ends of bones forming the joint are enclosed in an articular capsule. Okay, and ligaments outside the capsule connect the bonds. Okay, two bonds, and there is an articular disc or meniscus which will be dividing the synovial cavity into two compartments. Okay, joint cavity into two compartments. Okay, and these are freely movable joint, as you already know. Now what is this articular cartilage? It is made up of hyaline cartilage. Exception is there. For example, bones which are ossifying in membranous ossification has fibrocartilage as the articular cartilage. Okay, here you can see the articular cartilage of the knee joint. Okay, now regarding the synovial fluid, it is a viscous fluid. It consists of hyaluronic acid only, and the viscosity of the synovial fluid depends on the concentration of the hyaluronic acid, and this synovial fluid is secreted by synovial cells and mast cells. Uh, and the cellular contents inside the synovial fluid are monocytes, lymphocytes, a few other leukocytes, and macrophages and synovial cells. Now regarding the synovial fluid, continuation. Fluid is slightly alkaline. Functions. What are the functions of synovial fluid? It helps in maintenance of nutrition of articular cartilage, and it provides lubrication of joint cavity to prevent wear and tear. Now regarding the articular capsule, it is made up of it is made up of outer fibrous capsule and inner synovial membrane. And fibrous capsule, these completely invest the joint like a sleeve, or it completely covers the joints. It consists of bundles of collagen fibers only. It will be pierced by neurovascular structures. And what is the function of this fibrous capsule? It binds the articulating bonds together. It supports synovial membrane on the inner surface, which is present on the inner surface, and it has got watchdog action of watchdog action. What is this watchdog action of this capsule? Because numerous sensory nerve endings are ramifying on the capsule. So the stimulation of these nerve endings produce reflex contraction of muscles acting on the joints in such a way that joint is brought in a position of maximum comfort to protect the joint. That is the watchdog action of the capsule. Now what is this synovial membrane? It is a thin highly vascular membrane of connective tissue. And it lines the inner aspect of the fibrous capsule and the bonds lying within the capsule, that you already know. So in this picture you can see the articular cartilage. Articular cartilage and synovial fluid and joint capsule. So now regarding the synovial membrane function, it provides nutrition by secreting synovial fluid. It liberates hyaluronic acid, which maintains viscosity of the fluid. It removes particulate matters and worn out cartilage cells by the phagocytic activity. Now what is this articular disc or meniscus? These are actually pads of fibrocartilage tissue between articular surfaces of joints. It divides the joint cavity into two compartments. In temporomandibular joint, sternoclavicular joint, acromioclavicular joint, radial ulnar and knee joint, you have got articular disc which will be dividing the joint cavity into two compartments. So this is the temporal mandibular joint showing the articular disc. This is the knee joint which is showing the lateral meniscus and medial meniscus. Now what is the function of this articular disc or meniscus? It helps in lubrication of joint. It prevents wear and tear of articular cartilage. It increases the stability and complexity of the movement that happens in the joint. And it acts as a shock absorber. It also spreads the synovial fluid between bearing surfaces of joints which are under pressure. And these synovial joints are classified based on number of articulating bonds, plane of movements and shape of articular surfaces of bonds. Based on number of articulating bonds, here you have simple synovial joint, compound synovial joint and complex synovial joint. In the case of simple synovial joint, okay, in the case of simple synovial joint, okay, there are two bones which are participating in that joint. Okay, so you have got examples like interphalangeal joints of fingers and toes, and in the case of compound joint, more than two bones are there. Okay, more than two bones are participating in formation of a compound joint. So you have the examples like angle joint and radiocarpal joint. In the case of complex synovial joint, there the joint is divided into two compartments by articular disc or meniscus. In that you have got knee joint, sternoclavicular joint. These synovial joints are also classified on the basis of axis of moment and shape of articular surfaces of bones. Okay, based on axis of moment, you have uniaxial, biaxial and multiaxial or polyaxial joint. Okay, in the case of uniaxial joint, in these joints, movements occur only in one plane or one axis. Okay, whereas in the case of biaxial joints, movements occurs in two planes or two axes. In the case of multiaxial or polyaxial joint, movements occurring in three planes, okay, or three axes. Okay, so you know that uniaxial joint, in that movements occurs in one plane. Okay, here you have got hinge joint and pivot joint as the examples. Okay, and hinge joint, under hinge joint you have got example like interphalangeal joints also. Fine, interphalangeal joints. Okay, in the case of hinge joint, what happens here is that movements takes place around a transverse axis. That is, only flexion and extension are possible in these joints. And in the case of pivot joint, okay, here movements, okay, takes place around a vertical axis, hence only rotation movement is possible. Okay, so under hinge joint you have got examples like elbow joint, angle joint and interphalangeal joint. Okay, under pivot joint you have got examples like superior radial nut joint and median atlantoaxial joint. It is median atlantoaxial joint. Okay, yes, so in the case of biaxial joint, okay, here movements occurs in two planes or two axes. Fine. Okay, under that you have got a condylar, ellipsoid and saddle joint. Fine. So what is this condylar joint? These are modified hinge joint, where not only flexion and extension takes place around a transverse axis, but slight rotation also takes place around a vertical axis. Okay, here you have got examples like knee and temporomandibular joint. And in the case of ellipsoid joint, here flexion and extension takes place around transverse axis, abduction and adduction takes place around an anteroposterior axis. Circumduction is also possible there in the case of ellipsoid joint. In that you have got examples like radiocarpal joint, okay, that is the wrist joint. Fine. Metacarpophalangeal joint and lateral atlanto-occipital joint. Okay. Now in the case of saddle joint, okay, here flexion and extension takes place around transverse axis, abduction and adduction takes place around an anteroposterior axis. Some rotation is also associated with the aforesaid movements. Okay, this is known as conjunction rotation. Okay, and under this saddle joint you have got examples like metacarpal joint of thumb, okay, and sternoclavicular joint, and the joint between malleus and incus. And what is this polyaxial joint? Okay, which is otherwise known as the multiaxial joint. Movements occurs in three planes or three axes. Under that you have got ball and socket joint, otherwise known as spheroidal joint. Okay, in that you have got examples like shoulder joint, hip joint and the joint between incus and stapes. So just a revision, hinge joint, here you have got elbow joint as the example. Here movements takes place around a transverse axis, that is only flexion and extension movements are possible in these joints. And pivot joint, as you already know, movements takes place around a vertical axis, hence only rotation movement is possible. Here you have got examples like superior radial nerve joint and median atlantoaxial joint. And regarding the condylar joint, okay, which comes under biaxial joint, okay, the movements occurs in two planes or two axes, okay. These are actually modified hinge joints where not only flexion and extension takes place around our transverse axis, but slight rotation also takes place around the vertical axis, okay. So under condylar joint you have got examples like knee joint and temporomandibular joint. Okay, regarding ellipsoid joint, here flexion and extension takes place around transverse axis, abduction and adduction takes place around an anteroposterior axis, circumduction is also possible here. Okay, for example you have got the radiocarpal joint. Now regarding the saddle joint, here flexion and extension takes place around transverse axis, abduction and adduction takes place around an anteroposterior axis. Some rotation is also associated with the aforesaid movements. Okay. So metacarpal joint of thumb is an example of saddle joint. Okay, and in the case of polyaxial joint or multiaxial joint, you have got the example as ball and socket joint. Okay, here movements occurs in three planes. Okay, and shoulder and hip joints are the examples which are coming under ball and socket joint. Now based on the shape of articular surfaces of bones, okay, again you can actually divide synovial joints into hinge joint, pivot joint, ellipsoid joint, saddle joint, ball and socket joint and plane joint. Now regarding hinge joint, as you already know, it is a uniaxial joint. Movement occurs in one plane. Movement permitted only in one axis. Okay, here flexion and extension only is possible. Example, elbow joint. Now regarding the pivot joint, here we can see a ring and one axis is passing through that ring. Okay, either the axis is rotating inside ring or ring is rotating around the axis. Okay, here you have got examples like superior radial nerve joint and atlantoaxial. So median atlantoaxial joint is an example, is also an example which is coming under pivot joint. So in the case of superior radial nerve joint, what happens is that axis is moving around the ring, moving inside the ring, whereas in the case of median atlantoaxial joint, what happens is that ring is moving around the axis. Ring is moving around the axis. Now regarding the ellipsoid joint, it comes under biaxial joint. Movements occur in two planes, right? Okay, here one articular surface is concave, okay, and the other articular surface will be convex. Okay, so in the case of wrist, what happens is that carpal bones have this articular surface is what? It is convex, and inferior surface of the radius is concave, right? So that is, one articular surface will be concave and the other articular surface is convex. Okay, as in the case of wrist joint. Okay, that is the superior surface of, as you can see there, the superior surface of carpal bones are convex in nature and the inferior surface of the radius is concave. Fine. So in the case of ellipsoid joint, convex part of one bone fits into concave part of other bone. Okay, together it forms an elliptical shape. That's why it is called as ellipsoidal joint. So you have got examples like radiocarpal joint, metacarpophalangeal joint, metatarsophalangeal joint and lateral atlanto-occipital joint. And in the case of saddle joint, in this joint both the articular surfaces have convex and concave parts. The convex part of one bone fits into the concave part of another bone. Okay, and the concave part of one bone will fits into the convex part of the other bone. Okay, and here you have got examples like metacarpal joint of the thumb. Yes, saddle joint. Okay, metacarpal joint of the thumb. And sternoclavicular joint. Okay, and the joint between malleus and incus also is there, which is an example of saddle joint. Okay, joint between malleus and incus. And regarding the ball and socket joint, okay, here as you can see, one bone is having a ball and another bone is having a socket. The ball fits into the socket of the other bone. Okay, and you have got examples like shoulder joint, hip joint. Okay, and the joint between incus and stapes, okay, also comes under this ball and socket joint. Okay, as you already know, these joints permit movement in different axes, so it is a multi-axial joint. Okay, so here in shoulder joint, okay, shoulder joint flexion and extension takes place in one axis, abduction and adduction takes place in another axis, medial and lateral rotation happens in another axis. Okay, so these are multi-axial in type, ball and socket joint. Now what is this plane joint? Here the articular surfaces are flat, both surfaces are plane. Okay, plane, both surfaces are plane. So gliding movements are possible here, gliding or sliding movements. These permits gliding movements in various directions. Side to side movements are there, back and forth movements will be there with slight rotation. Okay, and these side to side movements, back and forth movements, these are the simplest type of joint movements. Okay, and in the case of plane joint, you have got examples like intercarpal joint, intertarsal joint, and joints which are formed between the articular processes of vertebra. Okay, regarding the nerve supply of joints, okay, capsule and ligaments has got abundant sensory nerve supply. So injuries related to capsule and ligaments are very painful. And articular cartilage is not having nerves, not innervated by nerves. Okay, and articular disc is insensitive. Okay, articular disc is insensitive except at the attached margins. Now what is this Hilton's law? That is, nerves which are supplying the joint also supply the muscles regulating the movements of the joint and also supplies the skin over that joint. For example, in shoulder joint, capsule is supplied by axillary nerve. Deltoid muscle which is acting on the shoulder joint is also supplied by axillary nerve. Skin over the shoulder joint is also supplied by axillary nerve. So pain from that shoulder joint is referred to the skin over that joint. Okay, now the clinical things. Okay, first is you already know that inflammation of joints are termed as arthritis, right? So in that you have got osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, like that. Okay, osteoarthritis is actually a degenerative joint disease. What is this rheumatoid arthritis? Okay, it is a chronic inflammatory disorder which is affecting many joints. In this, our body's immune system attacks its own tissue. This includes joints also. Fine. And what is this synovitis? Yes, inflammation of synovial membrane. Fine. And dislocation of joints, ligament injury comes under traumatic condition of joints. Okay, what is this arthroplasty? It is a surgical procedure to restore function of a joint. Here joint can be restored by resurfacing the bones, or an artificial joint called prosthesis may be used. Okay, that much regarding joints. Okay, thank you for listening.